Hi guys, welcome to Friendship Shaving, and perhaps today's video should be entitled How Not to Make a YouTube Video. I have completely messed up the video. I had to help my mum. I came in here and started recording and realised that I hadn't got the little memory card pushed into place properly. So I've had one pass already before my video cut out and I realised what the problem was. So we're going to carry on from where I am now. And just to remind you that next Friday I have a terrific video. I'm giving away a razor from Chris Spencer at Backroads Gold, and it is, if you've seen the pictures that I've put up on the community page of this channel or on my Instagram, it is a beautiful and unusual razor. I, as well as Chris, have not seen one like it before, and it is a razor from his personal collection, so please join us next week. Now, the messed up shave doesn't really matter because I took inspiration this week from a post put up by Andrew on the ShaveDad Facebook group, and that post was regarding the slickness in shaving soap and some YouTubers, or wet tubers, which is a phrase that I'd not heard before, and I asked Andrew and Jerry, as Jerry looks after the ShaveDad group, if I can just take that up in a video today and just have a little discussion about slickness in shaving soap. I got the okay, so here we are, and I'll start again, shall I? And this time, hopefully, we won't mess up the video. So I have my little 22mm Astraeus brush today from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, a lovely synthetic brush. You can see I have a lather already on it and on my face. And that lather is from the soap Afternoon at the Tailor by Mr. Murray's Grooming Products. I love the scent on this soap, guys. Its main notes are mandarin orange, bergamot and cardamom. And I have today used a pre-shave oil that perfectly matches and boosts the scent of the soap, although obviously if you were a wet tuber doing a comparison about the slickness between certain brands of shaving soap, perhaps it would be best not to use a pre-shave, as that would affect the slickness and feel of the razor on your face. Gotta say, guys, that when I was shaving with a cartridge razor and a can of what would have been shaving foam back in the day before they started developing canned gels and the like, I never once thought about slickness. And it was only when I got into shaving in a more traditional way and I watched a few YouTube videos that I saw people talking about slickness in shaving soap. And I think there was a time there when our artisan producers were producing various bases and trying all sorts of ingredients to make their soap as slick as it could be. Now I think these days our artisan producers are fantastic, and I think whatever soap you choose will have good slickness. Although I know it is a bit of fun and it adds a bit of interest to a shave to try and see which one has the best slickness. But there are a lot of variables to consider when doing that, I'm sure you're aware. Oh, there we go. Now I have a couple of shaving soaps that I particularly like and I think are particularly good for slickness. So they include Martin de Condra soaps, my original Tobacco soap, even my vintage Old Spice shaving stick, and Mitchell's wool fat. I think they are all soaps that have excellent slickness. But even then, I used Martin de Condra once and I commented about how good I thought the slickness was. And a gentleman came back to say, no, I don't find it very slick at all. So even going back that far, it made me wonder what variables there were that could affect the slickness of a shaving soap on your skin. There are quite a few, I think. And I should say that I don't notice the slickness on my skin on the first pass usually. I think it's probably because of my growth. It seems to interfere a little bit with that feel of slickness, but by the time I've got to my second pass, that is when I usually feel the slickness. And I guess a nice analogy is when you watch kids run and jump on a piece of ice and slide. It's that feeling, isn't it, of getting the razor blade to glide across the skin rather than to be scraped across the skin. And just while I mention that, I should also say that I will put up the link in this video's description to the post put up by Andrew, because some of the guys that commented upon that post gave particularly good advice on how you might introduce more slickness to your shave, and advice about lathering if you're in a hard water area. So I won't steal their thunder, but I'll put the link up so you can read their thoughts if you are interested. Now, adding water is well known to increase slickness of your lather. But if you introduce too much water to the lather, that can be detrimental. I'm sure we all realise that. And the more water you have, it seems to me, that's when you get that lovely sheen on your lather. Now, there was a gentleman who used to post pictures of a lather he was making, which was very wet and it had a beautiful sheen, but I have never managed to create a very wet lather like that was any good at all. And I began to doubt that gentleman, but of course it could have just been me. But I found that a lather that is too wet doesn't stand up to the shave. It doesn't provide enough cushion, although it may be very slick. I find it dissipates quite quickly upon the skin. It drips everywhere, all over me, the floor. If I'm trying to get that much water into a lather and I'm building a lather on my face, if I had a bit of a springy brush, it would go all over the wall and everywhere. And there was a time when I really tried to add water to my lather because, and I often tell this tale, my mother remembers her grandfather shaving with a straight razor and just gently flicking his razor and the lather would just fall off into his bowl. I've managed that once or twice. Generally, I prefer a lather to be a bit thicker than that. Just before this shave, I was pushing my soap into my bowl, getting ready to bowl lather, and I had a little bit of that residual soap on my fingers, and I just dipped my hands in my water, rubbed my hands together, and the slickness was incredible. Now I did think, well, I wonder if you could just rub that onto your face and have a slick shave, and probably the answer is yes, but it wouldn't provide much cushion against the blade. Obviously, if you're using a pre-shave, as I have today, that will, to some degree, affect the slickness of the shaving soap. It will add to it in one way or another. There we are. I'm going with a 3-pass shave today because I messed up the video. So you still get to see 2 passes. It's quite difficult making videos when you are an idiot. I have wondered, guys, if whether you use a razor that the blade sits with a particularly positive aspect or positive exposure, whether that would reduce the slickness on your face, say compared to a razor that has a neutral or negative exposure. I don't know the answer to that, guys. It's just something that I have been thinking about this week. As I say, I was really encouraged by that post of Andrew's to think about these things. So Andrew, thank you very much indeed for your post this week. I wonder as well if a razor blade may affect the shave, and you know, this was put to me by a viewer, Lee, a friend of mine called Lee. Because obviously razor blades have coatings, so one assumes or one knows, one doesn't assume at all that coatings were introduced to blades to make them smoother. So yes, one wonders if the type of blade one is using produces a marked difference in the feel of slickness. One would think, wouldn't you? You know, one would think it would. Trying to remember, guys, the things I said before the video messed up and the things I've said now, and I'm not quite sure. It is just one of the things we can do as shavers to put a little bit of interest into our shaves, to try to see which soaps give us the best slickness. And as I say, there are a few that I like, and I like this one from Graham at Mr. Murray's Grooming Products. I get very nice slickness from this. As I say, I don't think there's a bad one these days, or is there? Be interesting. Let me know if you have used a soap and you think it was particularly bad in terms of slickness, and let me know which ones are your favourites and which soaps you think have a lot of slickness, not snickness. That'd be a bit of fun and something I'd find very interesting. Now guys, that's going to do for me. I hope this video was okay. Guys, I put so much planning into this video. Completely messed it up before I even started. So I hope this is okay, and I hope it gets you thinking about slickness. And just once again, thanks to the guys on the ShaveDad group that really gave me the inspiration for this video. Now I've just wet my hand there to wipe away the excess bits of soap, and I can tell you that the slickness on my face now is phenomenal, which is why, and it's something I don't do enough perhaps with a straight razor, but which is why dipping your razor in your water more often will bring more slickness, in my opinion. I mean, I can even feel it with the towel there as I was wiping. It's a very interesting subject. There's a lot to think about and stuff that I haven't covered today. But you know, as wet shavers, we could talk about this endlessly, couldn't we? Now I'm just going to use a little drop of Tobacco Craftsman today. Just really one squirt. Ooh, get sting up here. There we are, got there in the end. Hope this video is okay, guys. You take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week for a really good giveaway. Until then, take care. Bye bye now.